Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Sophia, and I use she, her pronouns, and I'm one of the peer ambassadors with SOAR this year. I'm in my third year studying life science and biochemistry. Today's webinar is one of the many that we are hosting during SOAR. Ensure that you check out the Student Experience Office website for the full list of events that are running this summer. Before we begin, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the history of the land on which the Queen's University is located. As Canadians, we have a collective responsibility to recognize the injustices committed against Indigenous peoples who have lived on and cared for this land long before the arrival of European settlers. Queen's campus is situated on the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee peoples. The Kingston area, originally known as Katari, has been home to Indigenous communities for thousands of years and remains a place of significance and ongoing relationship for many Indigenous peoples today. As a student, I'm grateful for the opportunity to live, work, and study as an uninvited guest on this territory. It is important to understand that Queen's, like many institutions in Canada, was established through colonial systems that displaced Indigenous communities. As a settler and as a guest, I carry a responsibility to reflect on that history and to contribute to a more just, inclusive, and respectful future. If this is new to you or you'd like to learn more, I encourage you to explore the resources offered by the Office of Indigenous Initiatives and the Four Directions Indigenous Student Center, both online and on campus here at Queen's. Thank you for taking a moment to reflect with me.
Now, to do a quick introduction of myself, my name is Chichi Onwama. I use she, her pronouns, and I am another one of the peer ambassadors with SOAR this year. I'm in my third year studying commerce. This webinar is being recorded and will be available on the Student Experience Office website and YouTube channel within the next few business days. If you have any questions or concerns during this webinar, use the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen, and we will get to them at the end of the presentation. And with that, I'm going to pass it off to our presenter, Dr. Renahan.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. As my colleague Chichi mentioned, my name is Colleen Renahan. I am an associate professor and also chair of undergraduate studies at the Dan School of Drama and Music. And I'm here today to talk with you about what it's like to step into a first year in the Bachelor of Music program. We'll talk through some registration details, a little bit about the courses that you're going to encounter, some of the places that you might see on campus, and there will be an opportunity as well for you to ask some questions of us. So without further ado, I too would like to give a land acknowledgement that I live and work on the lands of the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee peoples, and feel very grateful to be able to do the artistic work that I do with my colleagues and students on these lands. The facilities at the Dan School are the first thing that we'd like to cover today. So there are really three buildings that you will encounter as a Dan School student. In addition to the buildings in which a lot of your elective courses will also be held, but these are the places where you will spend a lot of your time. So we have Harrison LeCain Hall, Theological Hall, and the Isabel Bader Center for the Performing Arts. This first building that is displayed here on the screen is Harrison LeCain Hall. And Harrison LeCain Hall was named after the eminent British musicologist Frank Harrison. And he was the first resident musician at Queen's. And it's also named after Hugh LeCain, who was a major composer and one of the first folks who developed electronic music in Canada. So there's a really rich history of music at Queen's, and a lot of it is kind of, built into this very building, which is said to look like a grand piano from the sky. So if you're ever flying over Harrison LeCain, you may notice that detail. But this building houses a lot of the student practice rooms, although there are some located around the campus as well. Lots of the music faculty offices, though not all of them. The music main office, actually the dance school main office, um, and lots of music classrooms and rehearsal spaces as well. The next space I'd like to show you here is Theological Hall. Now, this is one of the oldest buildings on campus. It's actually the third oldest building. And it was constructed in 1879. And it houses both the Dance School of Drama and Music, so part of the many drama spaces, actually, but also the School of Religion. And there's also a big performance space in what we call the rotunda. And this is this kind of like circular space over here on the left of the screen. And when it was first built, faculty and students referred to this building as the college. And it had spacious rooms that held all of the arts and science classrooms back in the day, and the ornate convocation hall, which is still used as a big lecture space on our campus, was used at that time for major ceremonies and also for church services on Sundays. There's a little history about Theological Hall, which is one of our oldest buildings. And then we come to one of our newest buildings on campus. So this building is right on the edges of Lake Ontario. This is the Isabel Bader Center for the Performing Arts. And this beautiful space houses several different performance spaces that we use at the dance school for our performances and our rehearsals and our classes. Several faculty offices are here, so some of your professors might have their offices in this building. We have some lectures and classes in this building. The Department of Film and Media is in this building. And I'm sure that you will have at least a couple of classes in here throughout your time and even in your first year. So in this building, we have a couple of spaces I wanted to show to you. The first is the concert hall. This is a 566 seat, gorgeous concert hall with the most amazing acoustic. It's kind of a building within a building. It has these concrete walls that prevent any sound leaking in from the outside. It has state-of-the-art ventilation. There's like, air that comes up between each seat to, make it sort of very comfortable to sit in and rehearse in and perform in. As you can see, there's curtains around the side of the room that enable it to be transformed depending on the kind of music ensemble that's performing in the space. And we hold many of our ensemble concerts here. So if you sing in the choir or you perform in the orchestra or the wind ensemble, you will perform in this concert hall and the audience will be sitting in those seats. This is the accompanying rehearsal hall, and if you came for an in-person audition, you may have entered this space and played or sung for some of the faculty members. So this space is actually acoustically matched to the concert hall, meaning that if you're rehearsing in this space, when you move into the concert hall, you'll have the exact same acoustic experience. So it was designed to have a sort of seamless transition between the two. And it's a beautiful space with lots of light. Again, all the ensembles rehearse in here. So if you're playing in the orchestra, you'll be in here once a week. This is our studio theater, and it's a 100-seat black box theater that is also used, it's used for theatrical productions and performances, but it's also used as a theater class space. So lots of our, rehearsals and classes happen in here, and it's a very beautiful and flexible space that's used for rehearsing in. So you're likely to encounter one of these performing spaces when you get to Queens in the fall. And oh, I feel like I may have missed some slides, but maybe not. We'll continue anyway and hope I find the other slides at the other end of the presentation. And if not, I'll go back and find them. Okay, so we wanted to introduce you first to some key terminology in thinking through some of the things that you may read in the literature on registration, and just that you're familiar and we're all speaking the same language here. So you're going to hear us talk a lot about programs and plans and how many units you need to graduate, for example. And what does that mean? Well, your program is your degree overall. So for example, the Bachelor of Music Program. And your plan is what you choose. So you have a major or a minor, or a specialization, and I'll discuss that in a moment here. A term is like a session or a semester. So our academic year is divided into a fall term and a winter term. And we also offer an optional summer term for those who wish to catch up from dropped or missed courses, to get ahead with their degree requirements or to follow a less traditional schedule and timeline for completing their degree. And so finally, units. What is a unit? Well, units are kind of like academic credits. So you need 120 units to graduate with your degree. It used to be that in the Bachelor of Music, you needed 126 units, but now you need only 120 units. Most single-term courses are worth 3 units in weight, and most full-term courses are worth 6 units in weight. And because each of these different courses has a different weight associated with it, we calculate your progress towards your degree completion by the number of units that you've completed and not by the number of classes that you've taken, because some classes are worth more units, right, than others. So you'll see here that we have introduced at Queen's a new modular plan framework. And you'll see on the left here, in this black box, that there are 120 units required to complete the degree. And within that degree, you can have a specialization in a given subject or discipline. You can do a major, a minor, or you can fill it with electives. And as I'm going to show you on this slide, there are different ways that you can fulfill these 120 units. So you can see here, you can have a major and a minor along with electives. In the second column, you see you can combine 2 majors with some electives, etc. But for the Bachelor of Music program, we're looking at the specialization, which is in yellow on the slide there. So you can either combine your specialization with electives, or you can combine your Bachelor of Music specialization with a minor and also some electives. So what this means is that you'll come into the Bachelor of Music in your first year, and we'll give you some more information on the kinds of courses that you're going to take and you'll be recommended to take. But you're also going to take some elective courses. So you're going to try out some other things. Maybe you'll take first year psychology, or maybe you'll take a course in anthropology or something. And through these elective courses, you may actually discover that you have a passion for another discipline or another subject. And in your second year, you'll be invited to, if you want, again, it's not required, you will be invited to be able to select a minor. Okay, so that's something that you can just keep under your hat. It's not something you need to think about right now, but you can certainly think about it moving forward. So within the Bachelor of Music specialization program, I wanted to show you here the courses that you will take in the first year. So core to all Bachelor of Music plans, you will see in the red at the top, are Music 103, which is our introduction to music, sort of intro musicology course. This is a course called Music, Meaning, and Society. And everyone who's in a first year of the Bachelor of Music program will take this course. And everyone will also take Music 156, and this is Intro to Digital Recording, Editing, and Mixing. And then depending on the subplan that you are enrolled in, so some students, for example, are in a classical subplan in the Bachelor of Music, and those students will then also take courses in performance and music theory. They will take ear training, ensembles, and then they can take other courses like, for example, some techniques courses or music education, for example, courses. I will say, just to flag here, that you notice that in the music theory line, we have a choice of 104 or 192. So for the Bachelor of Music students, you will have received an email from Dr. Stephanie Lind, who is one of the music theorists on faculty. And Dr. Lind sent all of our incoming students an option to do a music theory placement diagnostic. And this is basically a tool that enables you to take training that we've subscribed to, like a theory education program. And we invite you over the summer, if you'd like to sort of upgrade your music theory skills so that you can move into Music 192, which is sort of the theory level above 104. It'll just help you progress through the theory courses in the degree a little bit quicker. So you're welcome to do that. It's not required. So if you don't, if you do the diagnostic and you're like, oh, I still have, quite a bit to catch up on in my music theory, or, haven't really had a chance to delve into music theory yet, no problem. You will just take Music 104. If you do the diagnostic and you're like, I want to sort of like, really dig into this music theory so I can get that out of the way and kind of move into 192, you can do that. So that email and that program, which is managed by Dr. Lind, will help you determine which of the theory courses to take. In the contemporary stream, so under the subplan here, you'll then also take performance courses, you'll take a music theory, ear training, ensembles, tech course options. So tech courses are techniques courses. And I should explain these in that, these are courses where you learn how to play and then also how to teach a secondary instrument. So if your primary instrument is piano, and especially if you're going to be a music teacher, you may also need to know the basics of playing, a woodwind instrument like the clarinet or the flute so that you can teach a band, or maybe you want to learn how to play the guitar so you can start a guitar club or a ukulele group or something. So you can sign up for these secondary techniques courses and learn how to play another instrument. And in some cases, these are required, like if you're in the Con Ed program, like the concurrent education program or the continuing education program, you'll need to take these courses because it's going to be, crucial that you learn how to play other instruments so you can teach others how to do that very thing. So those are the tech courses. And then the same goes for the digital music and sonic arts students. So these are slightly different courses required, and you can see these under the degree plan if you are in the academic calendar, slightly different courses that you'll need to take for your subplan. And I'll show you on the next slide that there are some that we actually recommend for you. In the last category, we have electives. And these are, again, as I mentioned, an opportunity to kind of, broaden your horizons and spread your wings. So we really encourage you to try out something totally different. There's a really great, Fundamentals of Artificial Intelligence course that's being offered this year through the School of Computing, which looks amazing to me. And requires no prerequisites. So this is something that you could take at a 100 level. You could take, something again in anthropology or philosophy, or virtually any arts and science course is available as an elective. And again, as I have on the slide here, you should check the prerequisites. So like, you probably couldn't take like a 4th-year philosophy course or something. You'd want to take the 1st-year philosophy course. But there are several of them that are available for students. Okay, so here are the courses that we will auto-enroll you in as a Bachelor of Music student. We've recognized that there's a lot, right? There's a lot to take in as a music student when you're first trying to register and figure out the system and Queens. So we are going to auto-enroll you in a series of courses sometime in the next coming days. My colleague Kim Godlowski is doing that this week. So she may have done it already today. It's either happening today or tomorrow, or Friday at the latest. But here's what we're going to auto-enroll you in. We're going to auto-enroll you in Music 103, Music 156, in the performance course that matches your instrument. So for example, if you're a pianist, we're going to enroll you in the course called Music 245 AB, which runs all year long and meets once a week. And it's a course that's about the fundamentals of piano performance. There's also one for vocal performance. We have other courses that have a different course code for percussion and guitar. And, depending on what your instrument is, we're going to auto-enroll you in that performance course. You don't have to worry about that. And then depending on your subplan, as you can see here in the second blue category, we will enroll you in these courses to fulfill degree plan requirements for your particular subplan. And then electives are going to be for you to choose. And also, in addition to that, probably some additional credits that will round out your timetable for your first year. And those include things like, as I mentioned, the tech courses. So those are the 1/8 X series, but also courses in ENIN. So that means entrepreneurship and innovation, which we also host at the Dan School. There's some really cool, courses in that. Those are all online courses. I mentioned to you the artificial intelligence course. This is Erin 100. And then finally, things like Music 209, which is critical issues in popular music, and Music 289, which is global musics. And then finally, this list of other electives and other disciplines that you may also want to choose. So in summary from this slide, we will auto enroll you in the core courses and in some of the courses from your subplan, just to give you sort of a start on letting you know the courses that we believe are important for you to enroll in for the first year. Okay, I will say that on our dance school website, we have a couple of things I wanted to draw your attention to that will help you with registration. So on the dance school page, under current students here, you will find then the opportunity to select undergraduate students, because we also have a graduate program. And then also course registration, then you will select course registration for 25-26, and you will be brought to this page. And on this page, we have several links that I think will be really relevant and important for you to check out. So the one that I wanted to draw your attention to, well, there are several I'm going to draw your attention to. One is the Arts and Science course calendar. So if you want to know, what is this performance course about anyway? What am I going to learn in, Music 209 or something? So you can click into the calendar and it will take you to a list of all of the music courses, and then you can check through it and just see, what is Music 209 about? What am I going to learn? And also, what are the prerequisites for that course? Does it need me to have taken something else, right, before it? The second link I want to point out here is the dance school course list. So it's important to mention that not all of the courses that you will find in the academic calendar are running this year. So we don't run all the courses every year. We run them on rotation. So we make sure that there's enough stuff to make sure that your degree requirements can be fulfilled. However, we don't run them all at the same time because we know that we don't have the faculty complement to be able to offer them all every year. So this, if you click through that link, you can get a list of all of the courses that are running this year, right here. This probably isn't relevant to you in first year, but I will just let you know that we have a form here to request help adding a course that you may not have the prerequisite for. So some of our courses say, you need these things or you need permission of the school. So that's a form for that. Again, I don't think it's relevant to you as a first year student. But what is relevant to you is that if you want information on the ensembles or productions that we're doing, so if you are going to want to be part of the choir, or you're going to want to be in the wind ensemble, you're going to need to find out how to audition for that ensemble, and you can do that on this ensemble and productions page. And in fact, that page will link you to an application form where you can click through, fill out the application. You will be asked to submit also to upload a video audition. Finally, for questions about teachables, so for those of you who are in the concurrent education program, lots of questions about how to fulfill your teachables. I would suggest that you contact the Faculty of Education for those questions, just so that you can make sure that you're getting the most up-to-date, and informed responses about Con Ed. Okay, so this page also is just to let you know about the other programs that you may hear sort of talked about or mentioned, and that are also happening at the dance school along with the Bachelor of Music. So we also have a Bachelor of Arts program with majors in drama and music. We also have another specialization, which is our media and performance production specialization, which we co-host with the Department of Film and Media. We have a Bachelor of Music Theater. So we have BMT students who do music theater, and they come over after having spent 2 years at St. Lawrence College doing sort of triple threat training. We have a Computing and the Creative Arts program that's run with the School of Computing, and we call that plan COCA. And then on the right, we have the last one there, we have a certificate in entrepreneurship and innovation. And This is a certificate that students in any program can add or enroll in, and it appears on your transcript along with your degree as sort of like an additional credential that you've earned. And these are courses in like creativity and design thinking and, all kinds of things that actually are really relevant to you as a creative individual and as someone who's going to emerge and hopefully look for employment in the creative industries. So I would pin that and like really recommend that for you because those are great courses as well. And they can be electives in your plan. This is a list of some new courses in music at the dance school. So just to let you know, we do sort of offer like brand new courses and courses that we haven't offered in a while every year. So here are some of them. There's a course called Developing Your Artistic Voice this year. There's an intro to composition if you're interested in thinking about composition. That's something that does not have a prereq and you could take that. That's Music 245. We have a choreography class that will be taught by a dancer from Toronto. We have a foundations in vocal performance and piano performance, as I mentioned to you, and you'll be auto-enrolled in that course. We have a course on performing Canadian instrumental music, and you can see the rest of them here. Some of the upper level courses do require prerequisites that you may not have as a first-year student, but not all of them. So for example, opera performance, which is Music 332, you can audition for and you can enroll in, sorry, because actually there's only an audition after you've enrolled in the course as a first-year student. So if that's something that you're interested in doing, you can do that. You can enroll in that course. Ensembles. So I thought it would be important to mention the various ensembles that we have at the dance school. And as you may have noticed on your degree plan, you are required to enroll in several of them throughout the degree. And you are required to choose a vocal ensemble for at least one of them. We do require you to have some experience in a vocal ensemble. And it could be, you can wait and do it in your fourth year if you want, or you can do it in your first year. It's totally up to you. But these ensembles, and I put this at the top in brackets as well, are worth 1.5 credit units. So that's really important because as you'll remember, you need to achieve a total of 120 units at the end of the degree. So the ensembles are really only worth like sort of half of a credit. And depending on the ensemble, that credit or that time is sort of spent differently. So I'll try and explain that to you in an organized way. First, I'll outline the various ensembles. So the small ensemble, we call them small ensembles. This is music X00, so music 100, 200, 300, and 400. These are combos of instruments or voices that are coached weekly on any kind of style or genre. So if you want to be in a combo or in a little group of 4 singers or something, we had like a barbershop quartet one year, which was really fun. Or you want to be in a little band, or you want to be in a saxophone quartet, anything that's kind of a small number of players. You can form that ensemble either if you know of other people that you want to be on the ensemble with, or if you're just like, that sounds really interesting, I'd like to be in one of those. You can submit the application form. So this application is coming up in the coming week. And we can place you in one of these ensembles and you'll get coached weekly by a faculty member on your repertoire and you get to perform some music at the end of each semester. These ensembles are worth 1.5 credits for each term. So if you're like, I want to be in the fall term in this course, but I don't want to be in one in the winter, that's fine. You'll get the 1.5 for the fall. If you're thinking, I really want to be in one of these ensembles in each semester because sounds really fun, you can do both of them and then you'll get 3.0 because you'll do 1.5 plus 1.5. So that's how those ones work. The choral ensemble is our choir. Again, this is just a big vocal ensemble, 2 performances per year at the Isabel. They sing a variety of different repertoire. Some of it's music theater, some of it's like pop, some of it's classical. So it's like a really wide range of stuff that you would sing. This ensemble is worth 1.5 credits over the entire year. The orchestra, again, is like a large ensemble, like the choral ensemble, and it performs a concert each term, and sometimes it combines with other forces, like sometimes it accompanies the choir, or sometimes it does something with the dance group, or, it's like sometimes they do kind of interesting things. Same with the wind ensemble, and those are all worth, those large ensembles, choral, orchestra, and wind are worth 1.5 over the entire year. Vocal jazz ensemble is a new one for us this year. This is a medium ensemble, so it's an X15 ensemble. X15 ensemble, yes. That performs jazz repertoire. And we also offer a jazz band. So if you're a jazz player, we do offer a jazz band in alternating years. And then finally, we have an improv and jamming ensemble. So this is for any instrument. Also, our sonic arts students are part of these, sometimes part of this ensemble. And it's kind of a wild and wonderful ensemble that does sort of like experimental stuff. Yeah, it is really fun as well. And that one is also 1.5 plus 1.5. So you could do it just in the winter or just in the fall, or you could do it all year long. So those are the ensembles. And as I mentioned on the previous slide, there is that link to the ensemble and auditions page where you can click through, find the form, fill out the form, and upload your video, and select which ensembles you'd like to be a part of. You can be a part of more than one ensemble, which is great. And on the form, you're asked to rank your preference. So if you're thinking like, I for sure want to be in the vocal jazz ensemble, and I might want to be in the choral ensemble, you can rank those in order. Okay, so in education, these are a couple of things just to think about. We have there are of course courses that you will take, you will be enrolled in throughout your degree. So for example, you have the prac and prof courses that will be sort of baked into your schedule as you go. And then also we encourage you signing up for some tech courses throughout your degree because those are required. So we have music for 280 vocal tech, we have a woodwind tech course, we have 283 brass tech, we have 284 piano tech, string tech, although we're not offering that this year. We have percussion tech, guitar tech, and we do not offer music 282 any longer. We also have a conducting course, which is music 270, and we have an advanced conducting course, which is music 370. And those are also courses that are required and also very useful for you if you're going to be a music educator. Okay, here are some thoughts just to, as you make your way through the degree plan. Um, the first thing to suggest maybe is some digital music making. This is just to further develop from 156 your digital recording and editing skills. We have a suite of these courses now, but you might consider also adding music 256. We also suggest some creation in your degree. So we like to suggest to students that they take either a composition course. We also have like a music theater creation course that's actually not running this year, but will run next year. The third is a conducting class, which is important for our Con Ed students, right? And we also have a music direction for music theater course. That's what it's called. So there's lots of courses that teach you how to be sort of the director of a music ensemble of some kind, and those are really useful again for education. And then finally, if you're in Con Ed, but even if you're not in Con Ed and you're thinking, my career is probably going to have some degree or form of education in it, we have a whole suite of music education courses. Like we have a symphony education partnership course, which is one that you get working with the Kingston Symphony and some education programming that they do. Or we have elementary music education, or we have Music 114, which is teaching music to children. And we have Music 338, which is secondary music education. So a bunch of different courses that you could take, and you don't have to be in Con Ed to take these courses. You can just, decide that it's important to you or that you're interested in these ones as well. Yeah, and we note here that if a music education course is offered in your third year, you should try to take it because as I mentioned, not all of our courses are offered every year. So that's something to keep in mind, that if you see something that looks perfect for you, you should probably try and take it because it may not be offered the next year unless it's something that's in our core. Okay. So here are a couple of slides around timetabling and around like sort of the mechanics of choosing your courses on Solus. So when you plan out your timetable, you'll want to think about a couple of things that you'll want to keep in mind. So you'll want to take about 5 courses or 15 units per term. Solus won't let you overload. It tries to prevent you from doing that. And if you run into issues, sometimes it's a bit tricky with these music ensembles that end up pushing people into slight overload. So you can be in touch with us at the department if that is something that you're encountering. But we would suggest that you try to stick to around 5 courses per term. You will register for the whole year. So when you register now in the summer, you're not just registering for the fall term, you're registering for the entire academic year. So like for the fall semester and also for what we call the winter semester that starts in January. If you have classes that run back to back, so if like you have a course that goes from 8:30 in the morning until 10, and then another one starts right at 10 o'clock, like that's going to be fine because actually we do give you 10 minutes. So the class before will end 10 minutes before the 10 o'clock one starts. It'll end at 9:50, and we'll give you time to get to the 10 o'clock class. That said, you might want to make sure that you don't have too far to go between the classes. So sometimes if there's a class way over on the West Campus, right before you have one, on this campus, on the main campus rather, it's something you might want to be mindful of because it's sometimes that you might be running from class to class. Don't forget breaks. So it's nice to schedule, you might want to like make all your classes happen on one day and that would be fine, except that it's sometimes nice to have time to, have lunch or, take a walk outside or, have some time to kind of decompress and for your brain to, synthesize the learning. And then finally, plan for plan B. So not all of the courses, will be available to you. So courses fill for whatever reason, or they reach their caps, sooner, or for whatever reason you may not be able to get into the courses that you want. So try and have some backups for the things that you want to enroll in. So once you've chosen which classes you think you'd like to take, how do you register? Well, the first thing to think about is accessing your Solus. I'm just going to try and move my little, there we go. Accessing your Solus Student Center. So we do that through the Queen's U website, and then you see the sign in button here. You're going to click on that. And that will prompt you to enter your Queen's net ID and your password. Now, your net ID is part of your Queen's email, as you can see. So you'll have your Queen's email here, and your net ID is just the part that comes before the ampersand there. Your password for this is going to be the same for both your net ID and your Queen's email. And we recommend keeping these very secure and don't share them with anyone. It's also true that you should check your Queen's email frequently because this is the way in which we communicate with you about anything registration related. So while you may be used to using a Gmail or a Yahoo or a Hotmail or something address, it's important that now you start using your Queen's U address because that's the way in which it's the only way we can correspond with you, right? Once you get in here, you'll see the Solus on the left there, and that's where you will click through. And that's where you will then be able to see your enrollment date and time. So you can see under Manage Classes tile on the left. And then if you click Enrollment Dates, it will bring you to your enrollment appointment. So students have a particular enrollment appointment based on the year that they're in, the program that they're in. I think that's probably it. And it's really important that you enroll for your classes during this enrollment appointment because we're holding classes for you during this time, right? We're trying to make sure that our first year students get into their classes. So it's really important that you find your enrollment time by doing this. Then to add the courses under class search and enroll, you select a term. So you will select 2025 fall. When you select 2025 fall, it also inevitably knows that you mean fall and also fall winter. Okay. for the courses that go all year, that is. You could also search additional ways to search, as you see on the slide here. And then you can do things like add a subject. So you could add, if you're looking for music courses to add, you will add music, and you'll find that in the drop-down menu. And then it will give you a list of all of the courses that are available. You can see on the left that you could also do things like you can restrict your search by, selecting undergraduate courses, selecting online courses, although we recommend that you take your courses in person primarily. You can look for numbers of units, like if you only have, 3 units left or something, you may want to sort of further restrict your search. And then what you'll notice is you've selected a course. So for example, here you've selected, for example, Biology 102, which is Fundamentals of Biology. You'll notice that for this course, sometimes this lecture 1614, which appears in all of these, has different labs associated with it. So this shows you all the different kind of permutations of this course that are on offer in fall, right? This is fall 2022, but it would be fall 25. It's true that even in music and drama, some of our courses have labs associated with them or tutorials. So you'll want to select the lecture time, and that has to be free, right? But then also you need to find a lab time that you're free for. So, it might be that like you're taking an elective during this lab time, and maybe this lab works better. So this gives you an opportunity to kind of, decide on which associated lab you want to take with the lecture. Then you will go ahead and click next once you've decided which of the classes and labs work best for you, and accept. Then you will add it to the shopping cart. And we're now in the time period in the registration period where you can add things to your shopping cart. This is good. So you can add them, they'll be ready to go. And then you click next. And then it says you have selected to add to your shopping cart. It wants to ask you to confirm again, and you will say yes, submit. And then when it is time for your enrollment appointment, you will hit enroll. But I also want to mention that when you put things in your shopping cart, you can see this little button on the very right here that says validate. And this is a really great tool that, students, even before it's your registration period, even now, right? Today, July 15th or 16th, it is. You can put stuff in your shopping cart, and then you can validate your cart to see whether or not the courses that you've entered in your shopping cart are going to work out. So sometimes the Solus will flag it for you and say, you don't meet the prerequisites for this course, you can't take it, right? Or it will give you, other error messages that may come up as well. And it's just good to know, right, in advance whether you're going to have issues. And these issues may be, for example, if you've chosen something that is in conflict with something else in your timetable, like maybe you've accidentally chosen a lab that is in conflict with Music 103 or, one of your core courses. So Solus won't let you do that. It won't let you take 2 courses at once. Another error is that maybe the class is reserved. Like, for example, in music and drama, we reserve all of our courses for our concentrators for the first week of registration. So if someone in biology is trying to take music 156, Solus will say, no, you can't do that right now because it's reserved for music students right now. So it might be like something like that might be going on. It might be that it's full. So if like you're trying to register during your enrollment period and it's like the spots have already been taken up by someone else, this shouldn't happen to you for music courses, but it might happen in other disciplines. And then finally, maybe it's just that you didn't satisfy the prerequisite or the co-requisite. Other problems are, involve you not having paid your tuition, or like, there's a bunch of other kind of admin issues that may also have gone awry. Again, with the checklist, things that I mentioned before, we've been through this. So do you have 5 classes? Is the schedule workable from a, logistical perspective? Are you going to be able to get from one class to the next? The last one I want to flag, which is, do you have enough gateway courses to give you plenty of choices for plan selection? Meaning you've already chosen your specialization, you've been auditioned into the Bachelor of Music. So this isn't really an issue for you, but if you're thinking about a minor, you might want to think about taking the 100 level or like the entry level course in that discipline. So if you're thinking about drama as a minor or something, you're going to want to take Drama 100, right? Or if you're like, I think I want a minor in psychology, you're going to want to take Psych 100. Just to make sure that those gateway courses will enable you then to move through that minor degree plan. Okay, this is my flag that we're nearing the end of the presentation, but I wanted to say that at the dance school, in addition to all of the courses and curricular stuff that we have going on, our students are super involved in a variety of clubs and performances on campus. And that in addition to all of the great courses and opportunities you're going to get through our curricular offerings, we also have amazing opportunities through student clubs. And you'll be able to learn more about that on our social media platforms, but also once you get to Queen's and start in your first year, you will get lots of information from other upper level students about joining these clubs. And we can't wait to welcome you into this really vibrant community. Here's a screen that you might want to take a quick snapshot of. And again, I would point you to all of these opportunities to get questions answered through Arts and Science. And then number 4 there is just the dance school FAQ on our website. A lot of the questions, like we all have a lot of the same questions. A lot of our incoming students have the same questions. So we've created a list of those questions on our website. And we would invite you to check that out just in case it's something that we've maybe already answered there for you. So this is the end of my presentation, and I'm curious if there are any questions, and you can feel free to pop them in the chat or in the Q&A, and we can try and answer them here. Or if you feel more comfortable, you can email me. So I'm on the slide there, Dr. Colleen Renahan. I'm colleen.renahan@queensu.ca. And we also have another email address that reaches all of us in dance school advisement. And this email is programs.danschool@queensu.ca. And I'll say that again, programs.danschool@queensu.ca. So with that, I mean, that's all that I have to share. I want to thank you all for your time in joining us and say how excited we all are to meet you in just a few weeks. And I'll pause for a moment just for any questions, and I'll also pass it back to my colleagues.
Thank you so much, Dr. Renahan, for all the great information. If anyone does not have any questions, I think we can end off here. So before we end off, I'd like to remind students to check out View Engage for a full calendar of all our SOAR events. And don't forget, we have a virtual social every Saturday in July, and you can schedule a one-on-one or small group coffee chat with us, your SOAR peer ambassadors, if you have any questions you want to hear on an upper years perspective. Thank you so much for joining, and have a good rest of your day.